If you've ever struggled to pick the right hike or backpacking trip, especially with unpredictable weather, I've got you. Today, I'm showing exactly how I plan my adventures using free tools, AllTrails and NOAA Weather.
Hi everyone and welcome. I'm Kristen with Unstoppable Outside, and today I'm going to take you through one of my go-to free tools, AllTrails, in order to plan the best hiking or backpacking trip for you. I'll show you how to filter for your ability level, find up-to-date trail information, and check the latest weather conditions via the NOAA website, a step you never want to skip.
Before we jump into AllTrails, if you like this kind of educational content, as well as joining me outside on my adventures, make sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button so you never miss the latest video. So let's get into AllTrails and I'll show you exactly how I plan my next adventure. Just to clarify, I am not sponsored by AllTrails and I just use the free version. I will touch on some of the features that you can get when you use the paid version, but it's definitely not necessary. I'm using AllTrails.com on my laptop today. You also may be doing it on your phone and you have very similar options. Today I'm going to go into Explore and click on Nearby Trails from the drop-down, and that's going to take me into the map mode. Versus on your phone, you just click on the green little map option from there. If you do just want to look for a specific area, like you know you're going to be visiting a certain state or a certain park, just go ahead and plug in that park name. So for example, I'm doing research on the Channel Islands right now. And so I'll just put in Channel Islands National Park and it's going to take me to that section and it's going to start showing me the trails that are there. Let's start out with trying to find a hike or a backpacking trip based off of your abilities and the situation that you're in and what you're looking for. So I've set the map here to Seattle and I can see there's actually a lot of hikes that show up, but they're not all going to be suitable for what I want to do. And I also know by looking at this map that they're all more in the city and I might want to get out more in nature. But let's just start by filtering things down. Because I use AllTrails just using the free account, that's why I like to use the map mode, because then I can just visually choose where I want to go. Versus if you do want to just plug in distance away, that's a premium account where you're going to actually pay for it. So you can decide if that's worth it for you or not. So the first thing we're going to do is the length of the actual hiking or backpacking option. So we're just going to narrow this down to anything under 10 miles. I think that's a good option that would give a good range for most people, but you can certainly, if you're hiking with kids, you might want to put that for 2 miles or less. And then difficulty. So they just have it as a basic, easy, moderate, hard. So again, maybe if you're going with kids, maybe you're just getting out there, just do easy, just fill it out, and then you can decide to do moderate next time. If you're a seasoned hiker, you can throw a hard one on there, and that's going to probably have a lot more vert or more technical, rocky, rooty trail. So we'll just do moderate, just somewhere in the middle. As you pick these filters, you can see that the map just starts to refresh and it reduces the number of hikes to choose from. On the left-hand side here, we also get a nice visual so that we can scroll through and start looking. And then the next filter that I always do is the activity. So this is really important, especially for backpacking. By choosing the backpacking option, it's going to filter out those hikes that don't allow camping. And so that's really important to do. Always check the information on that hike to be sure that backpacking truly is allowed, but it's at least a good way to filter that out and have a narrowed down list to start from. But for this one, let's just do hiking. And then hidden under all filters, they have a lot more features that can give you more experiential filters. Under suitability, I think this one is super helpful too, especially if you do have family or accessibility needs. I really like that you can filter for kid-friendly or wheelchair-friendly or paved. I personally have had an experience where I was in a wheelchair for a couple months and we did try an accessible trail that was not paved and it was a struggle. I mean, I didn't have any special kind of wheelchair or anything, but just finding the right trail for you and what you're trying to do, let's use the tools that we have. And I really like this option. I really like the attractions filter. This one is going to allow me to be like, hey, I'm going to be backpacking and I want to stay by a lake. Or I'm just doing a little hike and I want to see waterfalls. So let's see if we can get a good waterfall hike. And then route type I also really like because this allows you to do something a little bit more interesting than an out and back. Most hikes and backpacking trips are going to be an out and back, but I always love to look for a loop first. So we'll do that option. And then point to point, that one's really fun because that can be like where you leave one car on one end of the trail and another car on the other end of the trail, and you can just hike through and really get to see a lot more terrain in that experience. Another filter that you might want to choose is the rating. This would be like I don't want any trails that are rated 3. That might mean they're, don't have good views. They might be hard to get to. Maybe it's like a really rutted out road. Or you can just leave it open and just do research by looking at what the reviews and what people are saying. Let's just narrow it down to 4-star trails. This is subjective. And also another thing to consider is if you're picking things that are 4, 4.5 stars or 5-star trails, they're probably going to be more popular. So it's going to be busy. So if it's important for you to have a more remote trail, you should definitely just leave that open and then just look at the reviews and see what people are saying. They do have this trail traffic option for light, moderate, heavy. So that means like how trafficked it is. So like, for example, Enchantments in the summer is going to be a heavy traffic place. This could be something that you might want to consider actually for security. I want to be in a place where there are more people around so that I feel more safe. Or if you do just want to get away, you might just want to choose light. I honestly don't use this filter personally. I'm going to just, make my decision based off of all of the other distance, elevation, and reviews. They have a highest point filter. So this would be for if like my body shouldn't be going up to 10,000 feet because I get altitude sickness. You can be like, hey, we need to keep this hike under a certain elevation point. So that's a nice feature as well. Trail completion. I've never used this filter, but this would be to make sure that, this is a true trail. It's there. It's well manicured. So you could check that box as well if you're concerned that it could be a situation where it's hard to follow or maybe there's construction. All right. So as we've done this, the trails have continued to filter down and we only have 14 left for what we view on the map. So we're going to just click show 14 trails and start looking from there. So in this view, I still am just on the Seattle map and kind of more in the city or the suburbs of Seattle. And, I could go up to, looks like I could go up to Shoreline. And as I hover over these green locator icons, I get a little pop-up of what the name of the trail is, where it's at, how it's rated, what the star rating is, what the distance is, and the estimated amount of time it might take an average person to complete it. So, up here in Shoreline, there's a 1.5 mile trail. I'm like, okay, that's cool if I need something here, like a little bit more local. But me knowing my area, I'm going to start looking a little bit more east because I want to go into the Cascades and get a little bit further away from the city. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit more here. They've got zoom in, zoom out, and different layer options. 3D is an additional paid service. If you were on your app, you can just click your current location and it's going to zoom in to show you the trails closest to you, which is really nice. But let's look out here in Issaquah. Oh, okay. We've got a 5 mile at West Tiger Mountain. That's a really nice area to hike. And then we have 2 more options also on Tiger Mountain, the Talus Rock Sloop and West Tiger 3. So now that we've got a few options, let's just go ahead and look at one. This one's only 3.5 and it's rated 4.6 stars and would take me 2.5 hours. Go ahead and click on the name and it's going to load in a new tab here on my laptop. And now I can start looking at the details. So I just scroll down. They've got nice photos. This map view, this is an important one to click. So if I click on it, it's going to expand and show me the whole trail. And it's also going to show me the elevation profile. So we can see we're starting at 406 feet. The highest point is 1,327 feet. You go up, you go down, and kind of level out there at the end. That's an important way to see if it's super steep and get the overall profile of the trail. We'll hit back. So I can see here that it's 3.5 miles and 813 feet a gain. So that's moderate. And it also shows me that this is a loop trail like I filtered. It's going to give you a nice description and it's going to give you highlights. So there's these Talus Rocks Cave that you can go and take a peek at. There's also alerts. And it's going to tell you things like if there are closures. And this was what kind of passes needed for parking and access. So for this one, you need a Discover Pass, which is the Washington State Parks Pass. So you can either get those at the trailhead or I just buy an annual pass and throw that up on my dash when I park. As we scroll down a little bit further, We get the overall information about the trail, so you can have dogs on leash. They feel this trail's kid friendly. It is rocky though, and you've got a cave to explore, and you're in the forest, and it's good for hiking. AllTrails provides a glimpse of the weather for the trail too. They're using a couple different sources to put this together, but I'm also going to show you the NOAA website, which is what I use, as well as mountain forecasts if it's more of a climbing or a peak that I'm going to do to find the best weather information for what I feel comfortable with. So I always check reviews. I want to see when people have gone last and what the conditions were. So it's October 27th now, and the last time someone posted was 5 days ago. And they said scenic, pretty, very rocky. Okay, and they put some photos. So we actually just had a big rain and windstorm over the weekend, so no one's gone out there and posted yet. It doesn't mean no one's gone out there, it just means no one's posted yet to provide conditions. So this would be where, now that it's Monday, I would like to know if there are a lot of trees down across the trail. And then as things do get cleaned up, like last year when we had a big windstorm, they actually did close down a lot of these trail systems, and that was noted. But as things got cleaned up, they would post that, and people would post the trail conditions as they hiked it to be like, oh, I still had to crawl up and over some tree logs, or hey, they already got out there and they took the chainsaw out there and cleared the trails, so now it's ready to go. When I'm backpacking, I like to use the reviews to look for camp spots. If you were to look for that, I would look for camp, and I would just look to see if anyone's noted the campsites. And surprisingly enough here, someone's actually said in 2023, good conditions, night hike, camping at top. I would have to do more research to see if that were really allowed or if they were just kind of doing their own thing. So if you decided this is the right trail for you, the next step that I would do is I like to bookmark the trail so that I don't lose it. I've got a bunch of different lists, and I can just throw it into a new list, or I'll just throw it into my favorites and click done. And then driving directions. I want to know how far it is to truly get out there. So if I click the directions, it's going to pop up in Google Maps for me. It's using, Seattle. You can plug in your own address and the parking lot, and it looks like it's, going to be 35 to 40 minutes to get out there from Seattle. There are two features that you do get if you go for the paid account that I do recommend, that my friend has used, and that is the custom route planning. So you can take a route that you like the idea of, but you want to tweak it. So for example, here in Tiger Mountain, there's a lot of side trails. So you can use that custom route planner to make your own route and save that to your account. The other feature that I have not used because I use Maps.me or CalTopo on my phone for backup navigation is you can download the maps offline onto your phone for AllTrails and use those for navigation. So I definitely recommend that if you just want to keep it simple and pay for that service so that everything's all planned and researched and set up through AllTrails, and then you can actually do the hike and make sure that you're on track and on trail as you go out there and have fun. AllTrails does have a weather forecast for the route, but I like to double check through NOAA and if needed also mountain forecasts. So I've pulled up the NOAA website, and up here in the left-hand corner is a little search box where you can search for your location. So I'm going to put in West Tiger, see what comes up. Perfect. West Tiger 3, and hit go. And here we can see the forecast. So today there's a chance of showers, partially cloudy. And so you get just a high level of each day and night across the top. And then we have the detailed forecast where it's going to explain a little bit more about the conditions, and super important is what's happening with the wind. So only 3 to 8 miles per hour. That's going to be safe to go out into. You can double check that it's chosen the right location here on the map. So I can just zoom in and I can see that West Tiger Mountain is selected. So I know that this is the forecast for the location I'm going to be hiking. If I'm going to be going higher up in elevation or climbing a peak, then I want to look at mountain forecasts as well, because they actually give you the weather based off of different elevations. I've gone ahead and pulled up mountain forecasts for Mailbox Peak, which is a very popular hard hike here in the Seattle area. And as I scroll down, I can see on the left-hand side here, we have different elevations. So we've got the peak, which is at 4,800 feet, and we have the base, which is around 1,600 feet. So that's where you're going to start your hike. So at the base, I can see the max and min Fahrenheit temperatures, as well as the chill based off of the wind. So today it's going to be a little bit chilly. It's only going to be, 43 and overnight it's going to get down to 36, but it's going to feel like freezing. I can also see that it's going to be raining, and I also can see that the winds are actually pretty calm. And as we look across the different days, I can see that that's pretty similar most days. Thursday is going to be a decent day. It's actually going to get up to 50. But then as we head into the weekend, the wind's going to be picking up, even though the temperatures will still be staying warm. So if I then change this for the peak, so once I get up there, I can see for today the winds are a little bit heavier, but I also see that it's gotten cold, that it's starting to change to snow. So we can see here in the temperatures, the high is 28 with a wind chill of 19. So way colder up at the top. So these are really important to check those, and so that you can be prepared for those conditions. You know, maybe not a big deal if you have the right gloves and rain gear and microspikes in order to handle any snow if it were to get icy or snowy conditions. So I really like these tools. Every time I go out on a hike or a backpacking trip, I always check AllTrails, NOAA forecasts, and sometimes the mountain forecast. One thing I like about AllTrails is that I can use it nationally and internationally. So like I said at the beginning, I'm starting to research the Channel Islands. I don't really know anything about it, but I can just plug in the Channel Islands and start exploring. AllTrails has been really helpful for me to find the best adventures to go backpacking or hiking for, and find places I never would have even thought to go. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe. I'll be coming out with more educational tutorials, such as how to do a custom route on CalTopo in the future. In the meantime, I'll be continuing to share my adventures hiking, backpacking, fishing, and road tripping each week with you, and I'm looking forward to next time.